Hi everyone, Amanda here. Welcome back to my book nook. Today we're going to be discussing Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. So your main character in this book is Grace. She is a astrophysicist, I believe. She might just be an astronomer, but she's dealing with stars. I just can't remember if she's an astrophysicist or just an astronomer. And she just finished getting her PhD and is going around trying to figure out finding a job and everything. She has been having difficulty doing so, goes to go for a job interview in Vegas, and also has, because it's going to be for a while that she'd be there, she also treats it as a kind of mini vacation, takes a couple of her friends with her. While there, one night, she gets drunk, meets a girl who you ultimately learn her name is Yuki, but at this moment, Grace does not know her name. And the two of them get impromptu married. Yuki writes her a note that she doesn't leave her name on, just some little hints on like how to find her and find her podcast radio show that she does, and disappears into the night. So a lot of the beginning of the story is Grace, yes, she does seek out Yuki, listens to the radio show with her friends, but is mostly trying to figure out who she is, especially in relation to her father, who is a military colonel and very, very military-esque in his thought process of, you have a duty, you do your duty. That is more important than necessarily what your wants are. At some point, Grace kind of is like, you know what, I need to take a break from this, tells her dad that she's going for an internship to New York, which is where Yuki lives, and hightails it out of there so she can meet Yuki. Also meets a bunch of Yuki's friends. While the other people who live with Yuki don't necessarily verbally identify in the book as queer, it's very queer-coded as for those characters, along with Grace's other two friends. They're very queer-coded. The other girls that she's close with are clearly, at the very least, bi. They all have various levels of mental health issues that they're all dealing with, and other types of potential issues as well. You have your token white guy, which is kind of how Yuki and her friends refer to him as. Yuki is Asian American, Grace is black. Another one of Yuki's friends is Native American. And so Grace is spending time up there and also still trying to figure everything out for herself until one point she ends up running back home. And it's when she leaves New York that I actually cared about her. Through most of the rest of the story, I felt more for wanting to know about Yuki, wanting to know about Grace's friends, wanting to know about Yuki's friends. I wanted the story to be more about these characters because Grace was very selfish feeling, and at the same time, very flat of a character. I didn't care about what she was doing or why she was doing it the way that I did with the other characters. But the last 100 pages of the book or so, that all changed, and I really, really was invested with Grace, invested with her finally working through her mental illness and her her little t trauma from her growing up, and potential big tree trauma from dealing with the aspects of how militaristic her father was through everything, with the whole thing of, this is what you chose to do, this is what your focus needs to be because nothing else is as important as this. And I found myself being like, why couldn't we have seen this Grace also earlier in the book when she's your main character? So I was really split at first on how to rate this. I'm gonna ultimately give it a 7 because while I loved the last 100 pages, and I really did love the other characters, those first 200 or so pages and how disinterested and flat and boring Grace was as a character pulled the book down quite a bit for me. if what those last 100 pages was like was throughout the book, or if the book had had a lot more focus on some of these other characters, it would have been a much higher rating. I would love to see books focusing in regards with Yuki or her friends or Grace's friends. I really think the world that Morgan wrote and these characters that she wrote would be really nice to continue learning about, and I just feel that some of these other characters will have an aspect to get a better story, because what was placed into there and the nuances of these characters were so much more captivating than Grace's character herself. So while this one's not my favorite book, I would definitely read more by her in this world, because I do like the world that she's written. It's her debut novel, and I don't know if she's going to continue writing stories with this or if she's going to go into other types of things, but I do ultimately like her work. I just did not like the one character. Other people might not have that issue. They may enjoy Grace. In fact, I've seen other people who've read it who have enjoyed the book. So give it a shot. It's not the worst. It's not, I didn't think it's the best, but it's not bad at all. It's just I couldn't connect with the one character. And again, people who can connect, if you do connect with her, you'll probably enjoy the book a lot more. Like I said, those last 100 pages I loved a lot. And based off of those last pages, it definitely is an 8, 8.5 for me. So like the video, subscribe so you can follow along, and hit the notification bell so when I put up new videos you don't miss them. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.